Live. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Matrix Talk. I am Phil.
I am Tina.
And we are two of the three from Matrix Talk. Dr. Kevin Polk is usually with us. We told him he needs to go on the sidelines and rest because he's got a bad cold.
He's on mandatory rest.
Yes, he's on sick leave right now from Matrix Talk.
What do they call it in athletics? You're the injured list.
Yeah, he's on the bench right now. He injured reserve. There you go.
Yeah.
We could pull him in, but we're not because he needs to rest. So, thanks those of you I see a few people that are on the call, and there's other people that are going to be probably showing up. So we usually give it a minute or two to let people kind of wander in. And today our topic is right up there in the upper left: psychological safety in schools through sorting with the ACT Matrix, which happens to be our favorite thing to do here at Matrix Talk. And while we're waiting, as you come in, if you're there, please do what I just did. Chat in where you're from. I'm in Langhorne, Pennsylvania. So just say, hey, I'm here, where I'm from. We like to know where people are watching us from. And there's Tina. She's in Northern Virginia, a little bit south of me. And Kevin's normally up in Maine. So
I'm the southerner here, below the Mason-Dixon line.
Holding down the southern front.
Halifax.
And then also, please click the follow button if you get a chance. Hi, Corey. Welcome back. And that will give you notifications whenever we go live. And also, while you're getting situated, if you look below Tina and I, there's a green button. And you can click there for training and workbooks and guides and such not for social emotional learning with the ACT Matrix. And there's Travis from California. Hey, Mary. Nice to see you here on a Friday.
And actually, just for today, so if you're listening, listen closely.
Yes, please.
Just for today, if you click that button down there and you find the Matrix Mind Stretch digital download, if you use the coupon code Peaceful Households, it's free today. And then there is also a coupon code.
Corey's already downloaded and printed it out.
Good. Corey must be on my email list because and then there's also a coupon code. It's not as instant gratification because it's not a digital download, but NPR provided a coupon code for the trifold that Phil created.
For this one.
Yeah. And the coupon is for 25% off?
Yeah, it's a nice discount.
Awesome, man. Thank you.
End of year sale.
Yeah.
There's other stuff there on NPR too, folks. I mean, we're kind of partial to this guide, but there's other ones that are really good. NPR's did some nice job for educational resources for people. So
so at that green button, there's a link to get that trifold from NPR, and the coupon code is there. It's like EOY22, I think.
Capital E, capital O, capital Y 22, and they'll automatically deduct 25% right through the end of June, as a matter of fact. So you don't have to do it right now, but by the end of June, certainly to get your discount.
Yeah, just put away $2.50 a week.
Yeah,
and then you'll have enough by June 30th. Maybe $3, because what's it?
Maybe
12? Is it 12? 25%.
Well, you can get yourself a cup of coffee too while you're get the coffee, get the guide, that kind of stuff.
It's a good value for the.
It really is a tremendous value. Yeah, it really is.
And I will, after today's workshop, put the link to an ebook that Phil just put together quickly. It was put together before, but he formatted it for us. I'll put it on that page as well.
Yes. So all of that's going to be there. And the ebook is what Kevin and I had cooked up last year. We did a crowdcast on trauma-informed classrooms for social emotional learning. And so I went and fleshed it out just a little bit more and turned it into a PDF. So that way it's easy for you to take and do stuff with. So it looks like we have reached 105 and we have some folks here, Tina. So why don't we get started?
Yes.
All right. So the way we will start is the way we always start. And the trauma resource is going to be in later on if you go to click on the green button below. Is that right, Tina? Is that how we're going to do it?
I'll drop that link that you just gave me as well.
Yeah, just drop the link. We're going to drop the link in there right now. We're not even going to have you wait, Ann.
Yeah, I'll put it in now, and then I will add it to that page as well.
And it'll be in 2 places.
There you go.
And if you can't find it anywhere,
go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, it says writer, Pete, teacher, Pete. That's just the landing page that I used. I had to put it somewhere, so I pulled out I did some training for teachers at Rider University. So don't be thrown off by it. You'll just go in there and you'll click on it. And Tina already did. It works, right, Tina?
Yep. That works.
Yep. So there you go. All right. So, we have a point of view we'd like to share with you, and we use it to increase our own psychological flexibility. And is it okay if we share it with you today? And just need a yes, someone chat in. This is audience participation here, so please feel free to chat. Corey says yes. All right. Great. And this is how you are going to start. This is how we begin ACT Matrix social emotional learning process with students or anybody. We're going to start by getting these 2 crossed lines up very quickly. And if you're working, in live, you want to have it up on a board or something behind you so you can refer to it, because what it does is going to help you to set the context for what we're going to do next. So at the top, we have senses. At the bottom, we have line and the vertical line. The horizontal line, we've got satisfaction over on the right, and we have relief over on the left. And we like to start with the question, who's important to you? So I'll go first, and I would say that my wife, and I'm also going to add my kids, because this is social emotional learning, so my kids are important to me. My kids are grown, but they're still important to me. So, Ann says family. Thank you, Ann. Anybody else got some important people out there today?
I'm going to put educators, because
yes,
my little guys are both in full day camp this week, and they're people who are supporting them are important to me in the work that they do.
Absolutely. And a shout out to all the educators who have been working under some very difficult circumstances, not only throughout this year, but also and most especially in the last week or so, where a lot of yucky stuff has been showing up. And Mary says her dogs. Thank you, Mary. So yeah, we're just going to list down here is where all the important people go. And we put them down there just like Tina does. So let's go slide over to the lower left side now. And over there, we're going to put yucky stuff. So, I asked myself, well, what kind of yucky stuff might be showing up inside of me, like say right now? And I will tell you that I am tired today. So I'm going to say that tired is showing up inside of me. But the usual thing we'll say is stuff like fear. And that way everybody knows about fear. I'm like, oh yeah, fear, right. Corey says anxiety. All right. And it's going to go with frustration today. Cool. And we're just noticing. That's all we're doing here. Nothing fancy. And, you might hear anger, something I might hear. Kids will often say boredom shows up inside of them. And whatever people say is yucky, we just got to put right down there in the lower left. Okay. So let's now we're going to go up to the upper left. And in the upper left, we're moving out of that world of the mind, right? This is kind of, if I look at it in SEL terms, this is the emotional world of the mind, where you're thinking about your important people and the yucky stuff and all that's the private stuff that, only you know about unless you choose to share it with somebody. But now we're going to head up into the land of the public observable behaviors. And we're going to talk about up here, well, when the tired shows up for me, what do I do to try to get some relief from my feeling of tired? And I can tell you right now that I've already had 2 cups of coffee today. And I will probably be heading for number 3 very near future. And for fear, the basic thing for fear is you run. Fear shows up and man, you just want to book it out of there when the fear shows up. And so, Corey, you got one for anxiety. What's a relief move that you might engage in to get some relief from your anxiety? Avoid. Yes. Okay. And there are lots of ways to avoid. Do you have a favorite? Is there one of your favorite ways to avoid?
Sleep.
Sleep. Oh my gosh. Yes. That's very popular amongst the youth too.
Mary's been practicing procrastination.
Yes, very good. Mary's honing her relief move of procrastination. Awesome. And anger, proudly. Yes. Very proudly. Very good for you. Anger, yell. Yell to get rid of anger. Kids will often do a little bit more than that. Stomp, tantrum, blame. Oh yeah, blame somebody. It's always a good one. Yeah. So now we're just going to keep moving around the loop here, heading over to the upper right where we put the things. I like to put the things that I do to achieve satisfaction with my important people. So for my wife, it's going to be I will talk to her. My kids, I might watch a movie. We'll watch a movie together tonight, probably, if they're around. Something for your husband, perhaps. Mary's got just do it. She's taking the Nike approach today.
You all showed up. So.
You all did show up, which we appreciate because having some people to chat with is cool. Oh, call or FaceTime. Yes, Ann. Yes, awesome. For family, same kind of stuff. Dogs, you're going to feed them.
That's a good idea.
Take them for a walk. And for educators, I think a cool thing to do would be to find an educator and thank them. Thank you for doing what you do. So there we go. So now we've just done what we call one loop around the matrix. This is the me matrix. And then what we're going to do now is to make it a point of view. We're going to add something to it right now. I'm going to draw a circle in the middle, and we're going to add the word notice. As in, folks, do you think you might have an opportunity, say in the next few days or so, to notice who's important to you, to notice yucky stuff showing up inside of you, notice yourself doing relief moves, and perhaps notice yourself doing satisfaction moves? What do you think?
I say yes.
I know I will. I'm looking forward to my coffee, as a matter of fact. What do you think, Ann, Mary, Corey? You think you might have an opportunity to notice? All right.
We got
Cool. Great.
For sure.
All right. So now we've done that loop for our individual person, or it could be individual persons that you're with, but they're all just doing our own. Now we're going to do what Kevin created and developed, and we called it the pro-social matrix. Pro-social matrix. Pro-social meaning we're going to use this one when we are with other people. And, even if one other person shows up in the room, that counts. So you and one other person, it could be you and students, it could be you and your family, it could be you and a partner, lots of different yous. So, going to be a same diagram, senses at the top, mind at the bottom, satisfaction over to the right, and relief over to the left. And now we're going to switch the question up, though, because now we're going to kind of shift that focus to what is our shared purpose. And I asked the question, what is our shared purpose? So we'll go first. Well, we're here to show you how we use sorting to promote psychological safety in schools. Mary is here to learn. And there can be more than one purpose, folks. Practice, yes. People show up for different reasons is the idea here. And what we want to do is just kind of bring that out in the open. Well, what brings you here, Why are you showing up here today? sorting, learning, practicing, all that kind of stuff. And always, 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 folks, Tina and I are here to increase our own psychological flexibility. I am totally unabashedly upfront about that.
I have found it.
Every chance I get, I'm going to try and go for that.
What was it this morning? We heard power meditation.
Oh, yeah.
I do my power meditation all day long.
This is it. This is our power meditation.
It's our power meditation.
Concentrated dose of power meditation, right?
Awesome. I show up and do this because I need it.
Pretty much.
And it's cool that other people join.
Yeah, that's just an extra added bonus.
It is, yeah.
So now we're going to come over to the lower left like we did the last time. And here we put what we call the special brand of yuckies, the social yuckies. These are the yuckies that show up when you're with other people or thinking about being with other people. And it's pretty much, it's going to be fairly along the same lines as the first time. Fear. And usually it's like fear of speaking up. Yeah, fear of judgment is very big. You got any social yuckies, Corey and Mary? Something you want to put up on the board today?
Impostor
syndrome. Yes, here you go. Yep. Impostor syndrome. Yep. That's ever present.
Oh, yes.
Learn how to get it down to a manageable dose here. Just keep doing loops is kind of the idea. Yes, lots of imposter syndrome, right? So, and again, other things could show up. Jealousy could show up. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Frustration with the buy-in. There you go. Always. And cool that you're noticing that too. And it's, getting people to buy into stuff is, it's a bit of a dance, and it's fine. It's just kind of the world that we swim in. So lots, we could just keep going here if we wanted to. We could spend a whole afternoon just talking about social yuckies, right? But we're just going to put it in there. No judgment, just putting them down. And then we're going to head up to the upper left and looking at things that I do or we might do to get relief from our social yuckies. And I'm going to go ahead and say the easiest thing to get relief from the social yuckies is to just not be social. Yeah, avoid. Don't be social. Just avoid people, Go live in a cave somewhere.
Just quit.
Avoid. Quit. Oh, yeah. And if you can't, just put it off. That's right. Exactly. Stay in your lane. Oh, there you go, Corey. Oh, man. How many times have we heard to stay in your lane, right? Put the blinders on. And that could be a very useful thing to do. As a matter of fact, in some situations, that's exactly what you might need to do. So we're not dissing on any of these relief moves. Never. They are necessary, right? I have done all of them repeatedly. Yeah. Okay. Reach out to a supervisor and let her deal. There you go. Yeah. If you could hand it off to somebody else, boy, that's a great relief move.
Not my monkeys, not my circus.
Exactly. Oh, file it. I love it. Hey, here's another one. Check my email. Right. There you go. Now, one of my all-time favorites is to write a report. That's a great relief move.
It's a good way to avoid being social, too.
It sure is. It's kind of a multi-purpose relief move. So now, let's go over to the satisfaction side now. And I asked this question. Well, gee, what might I do? What might we do that would be a move towards satisfaction and getting closer, perhaps even achieving the shared purpose? And we all did it because we're all here on the call. And we all showed up. And I think that's a very important thing to acknowledge right up front when people show up. Oh, Ann says, take a breath and listen. Cool. Corey's got collaborate with other professionals. Awesome. Okay. Anything else? Communication. We always like to put that down there. Communication.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, it's okay. We're good.
Swipe.
And we're communicating because you got to communicate about the shared purpose, folks. Oh, Ann says, I actually try to think about their yucky stuff might be and what they're seeking relief. Well, there you go.
And I call that perspective taking.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. That's called perspective taking. Very good. Cool. Nice. So since we filled up the board, we can now come to the middle, just like we did the last time. And once again, we've done it once. We're going to do it again. Going to sit back, and we can now notice as a group, we can say to ourselves, hey, do you think we might have an opportunity, say in the next couple of days or so, to notice these shared purposes showing up, or any shared purposes showing up? And at the same time, may you also be noticing the social yucky stuff that shows up. Perhaps even some things that you do to seek relief from your social yucky stuff. And even maybe some things that you could do to move in the direction of satisfaction for the shared purpose. What do you think? May you have an opportunity to notice that, folks? Mary says yes. And we'll see if anybody else might say yes. But that one yes is good. We can go with one yes. Oh, more yeses. Cool, cool, cool. All right, folks. So we have now gone through these two loops. The second loop is really going to be more of the focus of what we're going to be talking about today, because the second loop is the loop to promote psychological safety, right? And so let's ask this question. What shows up inside of you when I say the words psychological safety? Anybody? Sherry, Corey, Mary, what shows up inside of you? Trust. Oh, okay. So, Corey, let me ask you something. Where might you put trust up here on the diagram? Where would you put it? She's going to say upper right. Ooh, so she's going to do a trusting thing. Cool. So trusting as a behavior, right? Engaging in a behavior of trust with someone, right? You got it. That's awesome. Awesome. Mary, Sherry has said healthy boundaries. Okay. Sherry, where are you going to put healthy boundaries? And you can put it anywhere, because right now, and what I would say to people, you can go on the lower right, you can go on the upper right, you can go on the upper left, you can go anywhere. You can put it anywhere you want. Healthy in the middle. Oh, okay. Well, they all connect. Ooh, okay. Ooh, doing some discriminating here.
I'm just going to do it like this.
So, Sherry, you're noticing that healthy boundaries could actually go like in all, like healthy boundaries as a shared purpose. Yep. Healthy boundaries could be something showing up in a yucky way that might be uncomfortable.
Be hard.
You may have to engage in some healthy boundaries to get some relief, which could be very workable. And you could also be setting some healthy boundaries up there on the upper right. Very cool. And Mary, you had said collaboration. Now, where might you put collaboration up here? Lower and upper right. Oh, good. So she's putting it up there as a shared purpose kind of a thing, and also as a behavior. Awesome. So you guys are really getting the hang of the sorting. And we got a couple of ringers out there. I know that. That's cool. That's fine. We take ringers all the time, right, Tina?
Mm-hmm.
So folks that might not have been through this too much, what we're doing here is I am inviting you to sort your experiences into the diagram.
Oh, I ruined it.
That's okay. It's fine. And we can do that because go all the way back to the first thing that we tell everybody is to set up the point of view first. Go through the loops. So you can show students and others how it works. And then once you do that, you have now set a context that you can have any conversation you want to within, because you can sort anything into these four. Anything that a human can do will go into one of these four quadrants. And we've got this set up now so we can ask the question. And why do we ask the question? Where does it go? Why do we even do sorting at all?
I know why.
Go ahead, Tina.
Because sorting leads to a new perspective, which can promote psychological flexibility and safety, and then a bit of creativity and behavioral flexibility, and then moving towards our shared purpose or our purpose in life or whatever it is that we're aiming for. So sorting puts that new perspective on it and allows for the psychological flexibility and psychological safety so that we can move towards a shared purpose of healthy boundaries and collaboration and social and emotional learning and psychological safety in schools, increasing the buy-in.
Increasing the buy-in, yes.
And I like to say that when you're helping people to come up with their own solutions, you don't actually have to sell it to them.
No, there's no buy-in required.
Yeah. So it seems like we're getting buy-in, but because this is a cool bi-directional process, we're also promoting our own psychological flexibility. So when people offer up their own creative solution, we're in a better context to go, I wonder, and look at it with some curiosity.
There you go.
We're not selling them what we think they need to do. We're helping ourselves and them be flexible and promoting psychological safety so that they can offer up those creative solutions without fear of being criticized or reprimanded or judged.
And maybe even with fear.
Yeah.
They learn that they can do it with or without it. Because what we've queued up here is the observer self. All that Tina said, I would say absolutely ditto. And it's because we bring people to this point of view known as the observer self, which is the non-judgmental awareness of what's showing up inside of you, what's showing up outside of you, so that you can go on and discover what works for you in terms of wherever you're at. And then workability, like Ann said, and then you can add the workability question, and you can only add it after we do the loops and stuff and bring people through the sorting. Now you can ask the question, is what I'm doing working? Is it working to get me where I want to go? Now, that question is going to be answered differently, and it doesn't even need to be answered. But, when you're 6, your valued life direction is a little bit different than when you're 60.
It is.
I remember when I was 6, I wanted to be an astronaut. That was my valued life direction. I used to watch all those liftoffs. I used to tape record them and watch them on TV. I was a total geek about it. I couldn't get enough of it. I was going to be an astronaut. Now, I did not become an astronaut, but that's okay. But it's that kind of thing. So, and our students, they do have their life purposes. And they might not be so aware of them, but when you start asking these questions, well, guess what? You start to back up a little bit. You start to go, yeah, why am I here? What's going on here? And they get a little, as the word that we like to use is contemplative. So the other thing that this is doing, folks, and this is getting back to the psychological safety thing, which is the feeling that I have that the people that are with me right now, that I feel safe with, that I can say what I need to say, including I could disagree with them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that I'm not going to be kicked out.
It is safe to disagree.
We embrace things like conflict within this. Well, so when the conflict shows up, when you're working from this point of view, and we've already talked about this stuff, guess what happens? I'll tell you what happens because I've been there and done it. We now have some pro-social behaviors that start to show up that we can use now to manage the conflict. But let me take it back for a minute. So one of the cool things is the idea of creating psychological safety is the group will be doing the creating of the psychological safety, not you. They're going to learn together what's going to work for them. And the reason why they can do that is because we start off with some very easy questions. And now I want to bring in this idea of, when you're working with students in a school or in any setting, right? Everybody's going to come in with some stuff. And I mean like emotional stuff, right? You ever have any emotional stuff that you bring into a educational setting? Anybody out there ever been in an educational setting? I have.
Yeah.
I used to bring tons of it with me every day.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes it hits you before you have a chance to even get to your office or classroom.
Oh, and it's absolutely predictable that your students are coming in with their stuff too.
Yeah.
Right? And they're more than willing to share it with you. In fact, my students used to love to share it with me and anybody else that they could possibly share it with. So one of the things that I've learned from doing this matrix work is that it really went along with my philosophy of life. So when I was working in situations and I was working with students, especially when students who were in distress, I had one goal before the matrix came along, which was to be the calmest person in the room. I told myself, I'm going to be the calmest person in this room right now. So at least I can accomplish that. Right. And, if I can calm somebody else down, all the better, that's a hit or miss thing, but I certainly could keep myself calm. And then when I ran into Kevin all those years ago and he showed me this, and then he came up with the two loops, like, oh man, this is like calm, cool, and collected all the way. Right. Because we are asking very soothing questions. The first question that we ask, go all the way back. Who is important to you? To there's lots of reasons why we do that. But one of the biggies when it comes to helping people to be in an available space is that it's very soothing to be thinking about who's important to you. Calms people right down. I was in many a situation where once we all were using it in the setting I was in, very often my first words to somebody who was having a very difficult time was to say, who's important to you? And they would look at me and they would tell me, and they would immediately, you could see them settle. Just with that's a very, very powerful question. Kevin was absolutely correct when we switched it from what's important to who's important. That settles things down.
And when I started doing it with my daughter when she was, early 3-year-old, she would call that question, Mommy, ask me about myself.
Yes.
Because getting to list off all of her important people and friends and family was asking her about herself.
There you go.
She asked me to ask her the question often.
It never fails, Tina, because it's meeting people where they are, and you really are interested. I really do want to know who's important to them. Really do. I'm very curious about that. And when you say that to somebody, especially to a younger person, they start to feel heard. Wow, you really want to know about my important people? Well, let me tell you, because they might not be my important people. And maybe even in the eyes of the educators out there, they might not be important to the educators because they're going to tell you all kinds of things. Shouldn't be hanging out with that person. Well, you want to notice that stuff too, because that's who's important to them. Mm-hmm. So you start off there. And now, guess what? You become somebody who can be trusted. Oh, this person's cool. And even with people you don't even know, it works like a charm. Because then now, part of this social emotional learning is really, in my opinion, learning how to be comfortable within your own skin. There's another piece to psychological safety that we don't talk about so much, but it's also the ability that you feel safe within yourself. Mm-hmm. I feel safe within me. I can kind of take care of myself, and I have things going on inside of me that are uncomfortable, but I can pretty much manage myself with them. It's that feeling that I can handle this stuff that's going on inside of me before I even get to the stuff that's going on outside of me. Mm-hmm. And part of how we get there is we go right over there and we start talking about the yucky stuff. We're not going to try and shut it down. We want to know about it. Tell me about your yucky stuff. And we're going to put it right there. We even have a place we can put it. Now there's the sorting. We're going to put it right over there.
Yeah, put that right there. And we can put the same thing in multiple boxes.
Yep.
Just like we did with healthy boundaries and collaboration.
You mean I can put it there? Oh, yeah, you can put it anywhere you want. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. Cool. Calming. Again, calming. More calming, right? So instead of that, and now I'm going to channel my inner Mr. Rogers, which is Mr. Rogers was, one of these figures, one of these TV figures in our country, USA, and he had a television show. And at the end of every show, he would look into the camera and he would say, "You made this day a special day just by, being who you are. And I like you just the way you are." So what we're doing here is we're giving students the message, and they can give themselves the message that we like them just the way they are with their yucky stuff. Mm-hmm. That's part of who they are. It's part of who I am. It's part of who you are. So we're making that okay. And, there's an old saying, name it to tame it, right? Tina, you ever hear that?
Actually, yes. When I presented to Peaceful Households earlier this week, Kathy Orr, the director, after I got through my, hour and a half, whatever, she said, "This reminds me of name it to tame it."
How about
and that was the first time I'd heard it, but it's the second time.
2 times in 1 week.
2 times in 1 week.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yes. That's old school stuff, because the idea is if you can name the feeling. So if you can't name the feeling, you're really left with 2 other options. You either get to kind of avoid it, like they call it, stuff it, right? Mm-hmm. Pretend it's not there. Mm-hmm. Or you get to act it out somehow. Mm-hmm. And I work with a lot of kids that would choose, one of those 2 doors, not so much the name it door, right? So the more they can name it and put some language around it, right? And we're not talking about going into a big long story. We're just talking about, there's your yucky stuff. We're going to put it up on the board. Mm-hmm. And we got more soothing. Then we're going to go into the things they do to get relief. Well, that's even more soothing, because how do we do it, folks? Non-judgmentally. We just put it up there. Kid tells me that he likes to punch things to get away from his anger. Okay, going to put up there. So when you punch something, you get some relief from your anger when you punch something, huh? Oh yeah, okay. Just like that. And then, likewise, now we get over to the satisfaction side. Now we really are, there's that word that we came up with here, the collaboration word, right, Mary? I think it was Mary that did that. We are now collaborating, and we've been collaborating the whole time, but now that collaboration dial is really cranking up, because you have, and someone said, Mary also said buy-in, because now you've got some buy-in. Mm-hmm. You've got your group pulling together. They've identified some shared purposes, and it's really important to start there. Don't skip that step. That's the most important thing, is to have conversations about that while you're here.
And the shared purpose it starts with why you're here. It's not, we're going to come up with the shared purpose for today, and we're all going to agree on it. Part of promoting the psychological safety is writing down what people say.
Yep.
You came because you wanted to see your friends? Cool.
Yeah.
You came to get away from your mom? Okay.
Yeah.
You came because you get a hot lunch? Putting it down.
That's what I was going to say. Some people come just to eat.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Because you want to go to college. Cool, let's write it down. It's not about getting to an agreement and saying, we can't move on until we agree on a shared purpose. Our shared purpose is made up of the collective reasons that we all came here.
Right. And I used to say, well, they're of all the places that they could be, they're right in front of me. So as long as they're right in front of me, I have a chance. That's the way I looked at it. Because if they didn't come to school, well, there wasn't much we could do. Mm-hmm. But if they came to school, it didn't matter to me one bit why they came to school, because as long as they were there, they had, well, there's that word opportunity. They had an opportunity to notice and stuff. And, while they were there for their friends, they would also be noticing, yeah, well, I guess I am here for school. Yeah, I'm here to get credit, or yeah, I'm here because, be on good side of my mom, all that kind of stuff. It all counts. It's all part of the shared purpose. So as we're doing all of this, we are really now settling down amygdalas. We all know about the amygdala, which is, do you ever just ask it in those words, why are you here? Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
What
all
did
the
you
time.
come here for?
Yeah. Why are you here?
Why
That's the same thing. That's just the more direct question. They'll tell you. And they might even say, I don't know. Okay, so someone says, I don't know. What would you say, folks? I'm going to flip it back on you for a second. So I don't know why I'm here. Cool. Yeah. Oh, Mary knows. Cool. Yeah. Cool. So you're noticing that you don't know why you're here. That's great.
Cool noticing.
Yeah. Maybe it'll come to you. Maybe it won't. That's great. Thanks for letting me know.
It's a thing to notice.
And now what you're doing, yes, just walking in the door can be challenging due to exactly the fact. And then you can use that stuff, Mary, because you could say, well, and let's say now they've said they got a fear of being bullied. Okay, let's put that down there. Fear of being bullied, right? So I just thought about that one. That was a biggie. A lot of my kids stopped coming to school because they were being bullied in school, right? And now they're in school. Did their fear of bullying go away?
Probably not.
No way. But they were in school with their fear of bullying. And I would say something, well, cool. So you have come to school and you've got with your fear of being bullied. I mean, it's still there, right? Oh, yeah. Okay. And you're here with me right now. Yes. Okay. Cool. And then we would just go from there. And that's meeting people where they're at. And it's also back to that person's amygdala is coming in that building, and man, it's going wah, 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 wah. It's firing off. It's looking for signs of threat from anywhere, any reason whatsoever. I had kids, we called them happy feet.
They're not drop brain. There's my
right? Happy feet is when you anything that happens, you leave.
Ooh. You're out.
Cool.
Run.
That's it.
Here's my amygdala on fire.
Yeah, good. That's a great amygdala. It's fired up, right? So we want to create a context that helps it to calm down. And that's exactly what we're doing here. We're calming it down, settling it down. And then that person still might have the urge for the happy feet. But see, here's the other thing we can do with that. So what might you do when you get that urge for the happy feet? You certainly, you know how to run out of the building. That's great. And now we just got them backed up a little bit, noticing, and we're not saying don't run out of the building. If you run out of the building, you're going to get in trouble. All these bad things are going to happen to you, because all that does, what does that do with that amygdala down there that Tina just drew?
Yeah, I can get that. It goes like this.
It's just like throwing gas on there you go. Oh, nice. Oh, I love it. Oh, man, this is great.
This is fun.
Yeah. It is a raging fire at that point, right? And you won't even finish the statement because they'll already be down the stairs and out the door.
You better stay here or I'm going to.
Yeah. And their chances of returning begin to decrease.
Yes.
Rapidly.
Yes. SOS. Yeah.
SOS. Right. Yeah. So what we're gonna do with that is, so cool. So you're telling me that we might actually, when we've just used this thing, we might actually see you get up and leave. All right. Well, you can notice if you're doing that. You can notice that works because this other stuff over here you talked about, like you want to get credit or you want to pat, whatever it is that they had over there. And now they're going to step back and they're going to notice. And they might still go out the door.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can talk about that the next time that they come back. We can notice it. I noticed that you went out the door the other day. Why, yes.
With my 5 senses, I noticed.
With my 5 senses, I saw you leave.
And then I noticed some curiosity showing up.
Well, Tina, you told me you were going to do that for a relief move, and I noticed you did a relief move. Interesting.
You did that, yeah. Huh. Neat.
And then I might even say, well, by the way, right before you ran out, what was going on? Now, that's another intervention, folks, for amygdalas. It's a little bit delayed, but it's still the same thing. So when they do that thing that their amygdala is telling them to do, which is to get out, we're not gonna do a whole lot more than others say, ooh, so right before you did that thing that you did you notice what was going on?
Yeah. That's what showed up right before you.
What showed up? Right before you got your feet were not failing you and getting you out the door. What showed up?
What showed up right before you did that thing?
Or did you even notice what showed up?
Right.
They don't even have to tell me. I just want them to go back, take a little step back again, perspective taking. Let's go back. So in that moment, what are they going to do? They're going to stop. They're going to pause. And they're going to go back to that experience. And they're going to now recall some stuff. That's what we want them doing. Backing up, looking at their actions, how they're working over time. And as Tina said, once you start doing that and you get that psychological flexibility going within the context of this psychological safety that you've already created, well, kids can now come up with some other things.
Yeah.
Including, well, I guess I could just come to the office. Well, there you go. You could where would you put that? I might say to them. And guess where they're going to put that? I'll tell you where most of them will put it. Most of them would say that would be a satisfaction move for them.
Yeah. Can I put visit Mr. T?
Yeah, there you go.
That's you. Right?
Because that urge to run is not going to go away, folks.
No, because we've got this thing over here.
It, right?
Yeah.
But, it's kind of like the old saying, you can't direct the wind, but you can adjust the sails.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And the wind is strong in them. The force is strong. Right? And so we could channel it a little bit. So now when that kid comes in to see me, what am I going to say? I've already said it a couple of times. Cool. Thanks for coming in to see me.
Yeah. I noticed through my 5 senses.
I noticed that you did just come in the room here. Now, what brings you here, I might say, right? Well, I really wanted to leave. Oh, okay. So you noticed that you had that urge to get the happy feet again. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. And I got up and I walked out the classroom. Oh, cool. So you noticed that too, right? And then I kind of stood in the hallway and I thought, and there you go. That's all. That's it. That's all you need to do with it, because that then student has now done the rest. Now we've used just this one example of someone with the happy feet, but we can plug anything into here.
And we're done it all without telling them what they should have done. Really not even saying, wow, you made the best choice. Just, did you notice? Did you notice? And then what? And what else did you notice? And where would you put that? And it removes any judgment, because even offering our accolades for doing something is applying judgment as well.
Well, that is judgmental. You're absolutely, thank you for pointing that out, because really it's their success. You want to hand your students their success. That's his or her victory, not mine. That's his taking his yucky stuff or her yucky stuff with her or him and doing something different. And now they can step back and they can notice the difference. Right now, you can even do so you were having that fear show up, and you had the fear of being bullied, whatever, urge to run, and then you noticed it. And now, does the running out of the building feel any different than coming in here and talking to me? Do you notice any difference? As a matter of fact, I do. There you go. And then you can notice, how these things work for you. And do you think you might have an opportunity to notice that urge again? Because as we know, these urges do not go away. Because I know myself, there were plenty of times I was in the building and I had an urge to get happy feet. I don't know about anybody else, but I'll be honest about that.
I did about December 2018.
Yeah, there you go.
I didn't go back.
And then that was it. That was your final relief move for that particular situation. Exactly. Right. So you just keep using it. And what we're pointing out, what Tina and I are pointing out here is we're just using the stuff of their lives, folks. We're not adding anything in. We're not plunking them down in front of a workbook or anything like that. We're not having them do anything. We're not moving them into a curriculum. You can do all that stuff. And the cool thing about the Matrix is it's compatible with anything. If you want to, if you're doing that stuff and it's working for you, by all means, please do it.
Yeah.
Right. But the Matrix is designed for these in the moment kinds of things like we're talking about today.
Mm-hmm.
When people's amygdalas are going off like crazy and they need some soothing. So they can step back and look at the sum total of their relief moves and approach moves. Right. Because that's what life is all about. You're doing relief moves and you're doing approach moves all the time. And you're trying to move yourself along best you can.
And I know some folks on today have been using the Matrix quite a bit. And I've heard people say, and myself say, once you see it, you can't unsee it. And the more you show it and look at it yourself, the more it shows up in other places. And it becomes part of how you sort out experiences. It's that mindfulness in the moment with the Matrix that doesn't require any special. It's a process. I got stuck there
that you can tap into anytime you want.
Right. You don't have to think, oh, I'm in the red zone, and Mr. T said when I'm in the red zone, I should take deep breaths.
Right.
It's a process of sorting and noticing. Have you ever used the Matrix as a and Phil and I have done a couple of crowdcasts on that together.
Let me tell you, Ann, I was the trainer for the entire school district. I trained in nonviolent physical crisis intervention and debriefing techniques. So I trained K to 12. I've done hundreds of trainings with people. And once I learned how to do the Matrix, I incorporated the Matrix into my trainings. And hands down, people all said that was the best part of the training. I would debrief with the Matrix after every restrictive procedure. As soon as, when someone is settled down and they're able, sometimes it had to be a day or two later, depending on circumstances. But yes, that was our go-to debriefing procedure, not just for the student, but also for the staff. We used it as our own debriefing procedure. I don't have a recorded workshop of that.
For adults. We have,
especially it's even more important for adults.
Yeah.
Because the student has had a traumatic experience, and maybe not, because some students just like to get in trouble. They just love, like watching people just go nuts, tracing them around. Now the adults, on the other hand, typically do not love that.
Right.
And they end up being more traumatized than the students.
Yeah.
Especially when it gets bad and people get hurt, and they get hurt.
It's their job. They have to show up. That kid could skip school tomorrow. That kid doesn't have to see that teacher. That kid, but those professionals
and the kid's coming back.
Right.
See, the other thing about it, everybody goes, "Hey, wait a minute, he's coming back."
Right.
We need to kind of sit down and have a shared purpose conversation about this.
So we've done a couple of those, I think, over the last 2 years. We should do one if our SEL week rolls around again, we'll do a debriefing.
That's a great idea. And thank you for that. We can walk through, I'll walk through how you use the ACT matrix as a debriefing procedure with adults.
Yes.
And part of it is, Anne, is I would get all the adults in the room. That was part of everybody that was involved. If you were the campus monitor and you escorted the student off the building to the car, whatever, or you were the teacher in the classroom, everybody plays a part. So we would gather all those people that had any contact in that intervention together. And the first question is going to be, what's our shared purpose? And I will go ahead and write one word on the board to get things started. What word would I write, folks?
Shared purpose for school team after a crisis. What might that be?
It would be safety. That's the word.
I'm looking.
Because we got to have a way to look at, we got to have a lens to look at this from. So if we look at it from the lens of safety, that's going to be what we're going to keep coming back to. Because everybody's going to have an opinion. You know, it's like the blind man and the elephant. Everybody's got to, oh, the trunk feels like this, and the ears feel like that, and the tail feels like this, but no one really has the full picture. But you pull people together in a room, you talk about shared purpose, you let people share the yucky stuff and talk about some of the things they did to get relief. Some of it's workable, some of it might not be so workable. And then we're going to be talking about how we can keep moving toward the shared purpose of safety, both for ourselves and for the acting out individual. So, yeah, works like a charm.
And in this book, I was just looking at it, that we have, this one's on Amazon, Executive Coaching and Crisis Management. It seems more by the title to be corporate, but it works well in schools, and there's a chapter in there on crisis management and how to soothe the amygdala and the psychological safety of setting boundaries and how to bring a group together when like shit's hitting the fan.
Yep.
Which is how it is. And I wish, so I left schools before I found the matrix, but I wish I had it, because I was the person who, would go in and do the de-escalations. I often just cleared adults from the room because I also wanted to be the calmest person. And sometimes the easiest was just to say, okay, guys, I got this. And then you come back together, and how do you have a conversation about what just happened? Because we've got a behavior plan, but just saying, well, you didn't follow the behavior plan, that doesn't work for anything at all. That's
behavior plans are only good for after you write them, and then they're not any good anymore, because then something new comes along.
Right. And then asking people to hash out the events of what did you do well, what did you do well, and then what, and you don't want to blame people, because everybody's doing the very best they can. But as the specialist who wrote the plan, people, you're kind of positioned as people don't really like you when you walk in the room. I wish I'd had this process, because it would have made those conversations with administration and teachers and paraprofessionals who I valued, and they were more important than me and all of that. But they were hard conversations, and having the matrix to do it would have made them a lot more.
And I've been there, pulled them all together. That's exactly what I did. Anybody that had any contact, we were in together. Everybody in the
I don't know, Mary, if you've ever had the experience of people not
occupational hazard, right?
Yeah. Yep. No, never. Yeah. And I did use it in to de-escalate in group homes and do debriefing and things like that in group homes with staff and families. Did you ever get to a point of?
Well, yes, Sherry, and I'll speak to that question, because you can now see that when you have this up and running, the way that I had it up and running, it was part of what we did. It was in the drinking water. So you've had this experience of being in front of the diagram, being asked the questions, and so when you bring it up, it's going to automatically engender that in people. So they know that nothing bad's going to come out of this, that we're going to do it this way. So now people are more willing to lean in. They're more willing to cooperate. They're more willing to say, you know what, I really screwed that one up. Sorry about that. I kind of whatever. And that's okay too, because that's just all part of being human.
And it gives a way to look back at what is working and what's not working. That we've done in the past those 7 steps to something where part of it is the group can call out the group. The group can call a check-in to say, hey, are we working towards our shared purpose?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, that's the other part of it. That's the monitoring part.
The monitoring, yeah, this allows for monitoring. So that people
we didn't get to it today, and we can actually do that again. But even in the classroom setting, I was going to get to part of this debriefing is also going into the classroom and working with the students where this happened, right? Okay, so we got some ideas here. So we're gonna, I know you always start with who's important. Do you still do that with? Oh, yes. Oh, I'll go one better. Here's what we did, Ann. We would meet together. I worked in a program, so we had about maybe like 20, 25 staff and maybe another 30, 40 kids, something like that were coming and going throughout the day. We met in the morning and we did a shared purpose matrix in the morning, the students and the staff together. We would start out our day that way. And then we'd invite the students. Actually, we would take turns. Sometimes I would do it. Sometimes I'd hand the chalk to here, jump up here and do it. And if you could see the look on their faces when they were standing up in front of a group of their peers and teachers and asking the questions and having people respond to them, it was just like priceless stuff. So yes, there you go.
What happened in a healthy, safe way? Yes. And then it allows for examining if what we're doing is working or not. And it makes a safe space for people to go look, in regards to schools and group homes.
She wants to see the book title again.
Yeah, I know you wrote this plan and you're the behavior specialist, but I'm not sure if it's working. And then I get to go, oh, well, let's look at what might be different. Yes, it's common to people.
Yes, Mary.
It doesn't go well.
I've been there, Mary. And I've done that. And see, now what we do is we were writing collaborative safety plans is really what the idea was. Yeah. So that everybody was buying in and people have participation in it. And then they were more likely to follow it through then too, as opposed to here's the plan you should follow. And people go, I had no input into this plan. Right. So yes.
Make a 1-pager for debriefing after a crisis, like my matrix. I've been making all these little 1-pagers.
That would do it.
We could do a debriefing after.
Everybody do one of them.
Yeah, that would be cool. And then again, if you want the Matrix Mind Stretch book, just for today, if you use Peaceful Households because I did a training for them earlier this week, as the coupon code, it's $0 just for today. And click that link. I'll put
make sure you get the PDF that the book, little guide book I wrote up that Kevin and I did from last year.
Here. Yes, Sherry. It takes away the notion that we have a magic wand.
I wish I did. I'd use it on me first.
I know. Yes, Sherry. That's one of the things I've loved about having this and doing consultation and being that expert that's positioned to come fix, we don't know what to do. Call the behavior specialist. They'll fix it. Like, I don't have that because you're the expert here, not me. You're the expert on this whole context, and that context includes you and the physical environment. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah. And Mary, when I became a school psychologist, my site supervisor, handed she gave me like a safety kit, right? One of the things she gave me was pixie dust, and I used to keep pixie dust on my desk.
Yeah, very cool. Well,
so there you go.
Fun. We have ideas for more, Phil.
Yes. Thank you, folks. Thank you for joining us today. I hope you found this helpful and hope to see you again.
We'll see you soon.
And have a nice weekend.
Goodbye.
See ya.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Oh, you have to end it.
Have a good weekend.